So I'll turn it over to you, Bob, and so you can introduce Jennifer to the group.
Yeah, so well, first of all, thank you everybody for joining us on this Thursday evening as we get closer to the holiday season. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for tonight. Jennifer Stepniowski is a fellow ASQ fellow. She also has professional certifications as a quality manager in operational excellence and as a project management person. So glad to have Jennifer with us. With over 2 decades of experience in quality management and leadership, Jennifer has been instrumental in driving operational excellence across a range of industries. She's designed and implemented robust quality systems with expertise in supplier quality, auditing, compliance, and data analytics. Within the automotive sector, she has contributed to product development initiatives focused on cybersecurity and functional safety. And she currently leads quality initiatives supporting thermal management solutions for global data centers. And we know how important that is. It's a huge growing industry here in the US and globally. As an ASQ fellow and respected industry voice, Jennifer has served on numerous ASQ committees, published in leading industry journals, and presented at premier events, including ASQ's very own World Quality Conference. She holds IATF 16949 and ISO 9001 lead auditor certifications, along with ISO 26262 and ISO SAE 21434 credentials, and again is certified as a CMQ/OE. Driven by a passion for quality, culture, and leadership, Jennifer actively promotes excellence through training, mentorship, and thought leadership. Outside of work, she enjoys hiking with her Australian Shepherd and getting lost in a great mystery novel.
That's the important
So
part.
it gives me great pleasure again to introduce Jennifer, who will speak around the topic of world quality.
Thanks. That's a long intro. Thank you very much. And thank you guys for hosting and allowing me the opportunity to celebrate World Quality Day with you guys. I was saying earlier, can you see my screen, by the way? The World Quality presentation?
Yes, I do. You're not screen sharing, not in the sharing the slideshow, but we do see your screen.
Perfect. Yes. So for being here with World Quality Day, I first wanted to say, even being on camera, you can't really see it, but my shirt actually says, quality has no finish line. And I'm going to use a little story to actually preface the whole thing in terms of, I think I mentioned it was 2000 was the first World Quality that I celebrated or did something with within the organization. And you didn't have shirts in like mainstream that said stuff about quality, like quality is cool kind of thing. So it was impressive to have been in a retail store in the mall with my teenage daughter and saw this shirt, right? Which is a quality mainstream thing. So I thought, well, this is kind of great. More people are talking about it now. For those of you that are really quality geeks out there, you're recognizing that this is a very familiar quote that isn't necessarily by CKH. Peter Drucker actually said basically the same thing, right? The race to quality has no finish line. But this guy, who happens to be a collaboration with Yellowstone, the TV series, he was given his big opportunity to communicate to the world, and it was my shirt. So I feel cool in it. My daughter thinks I'm cool, and it's World Quality, so it is the reason to wear it today. And it leads me into what we're talking about, what we're doing. Okay, so throughout the time that we have available, I thought it'd be cool just to kind of talk about what World Quality is. I have done something every year for a long time, both really big and really small. So I kind of just wanted to go over some celebration ideas or themes for you guys to do in your workplace. And I wanted to celebrate quality in terms of homage to our quality gurus. So going back to what they contributed. And then talking a little bit about how, all those guys contributed that we didn't stop innovating philosophy and thought regarding quality, right? So how do we recognize or how do we learn what is currently coming about within our discipline? And final tips and takeaways and some resources for you guys. So thank you for having me again and celebrating World Quality Day. What is it? Well, ChatGPT can give you a really long answer. I wanted to know the first year it was celebrated, so we get this one. But ultimately, World Quality has been for some time in November, celebrated internationally by multiple different groups that we'll talk about some of them, ASQ included. I've specifically been involved with the ASQ recognition of World Quality now since 2000. I've seen that evolve. It's pretty cool. But like I said, today we've got World Quality Day that falls within a World Quality Week, and all of November is World Quality. And I shouldn't have to ask you guys this, but why World Quality? And I love these because they're great talking points, right? Even though we know them, it's nice to hear them said out loud. So we'll go through them. Why World Quality? One, the biggest point is to promote quality awareness. Ultimately, we want quality to be everyone's responsibility. And if you happen to be into a compliance like an ISO or an IATF or something, you have to have awareness anyway. So it's a great opportunity to do something around that. It encourages continuous improvement, which is ultimately what I'm going to guess all of us do in our jobs. Reinforces the value of quality in products, services, and processes. We know that. Inspires commitment to quality among our teams. And when we talk about some ideas and stuff, I have seen that in terms of, yeah, we all get excited about quality-based word finds and crosswords maybe, but it is cool to see teams that are not in quality be equally excited when you celebrate World Quality or whatever it is. And kind of having that cross-functional recognition there. So that's pretty cool. Celebrates achievements in quality that we are going to talk about later. Opportunity to share our best practices. We should be doing that all of the time though. Highlights the contributions of quality professionals, which we're going to talk about more of, and a reminder of the critical role that quality does play in an organization's success and growth, which is ultimately why we do what we do. Customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, all that good Deming stuff. So happy World Quality Day. Let's get started. First of all, in the chat, because I was able to have that open with the whatever, if you guys want to put in here, how many of you have done something for World Quality so far this month or today or anything at all? Let me know and I'll share some of what you guys include here. But for me, celebration ideas. So how do you recognize, how do you achieve those benefits that we agree on for quality having a month, especially in the midst of all the other months, because I think October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and then there's Manufacturing Week, and then I think there's Engineering Month. So among all of those, right, how do you kind of stand out and recognize quality? So a few ideas I've done are the lunch and learn sessions, and I've gone big and gone small. But for the lunch and learn, like last year, we didn't have too big of a budget. And one of my tips later is you should probably start talking about this to leadership in advance, because it takes a little bit usually to get whatever kind of budget you'll be able to have for it at work. But I just did kind of round tables and invited everyone in the vertical, had a PowerPoint kind of slide going about meet the quality team. And then we had those crosswords and the word finds in there for the people at the tables to work on. And then the quality team went table to table and just introduced ourselves and said hi and kind of talked about the vision and whatnot. The biggest example of that would be, I was kind of touching on it earlier, but this was epic. There was a huge atrium at this particular organization. And what we did was we set it up like a trade show, a lunch trade show. So there was food, and then we had every little element of quality had its own representation. Like we had supplier quality, the lab, ASQ was there. Actually, they had a little booth. QMS, Quality Systems had a booth. So it was pretty cool. So you could go big, go small, every little bit counts. Mentioned hosted lunch, branded material. So I'm going to show you what I've done a couple of times. And I know it seems a bit candy bars. You can have them custom printed for very little, and you can put your logo and your quality policy on it. And it is a really great way just to kind of, expose the policy to people. You need the awareness anyway, again, if you're ISO or whatever, but you want it out there for culture of quality, pure reasoning. Quality games, you can find those online. I'll show you a couple of examples that I've done, but I've used a couple. I just Google like free crossword puzzle, and that's pretty easy to find. You could do a Kaizen idea contest for the month. Lots of communications. I'm going to show you some, but if you're on LinkedIn, which I feel like is the Facebook of our work world, you see a lot of stuff going on probably about world quality if you're following the right people or ASQ. But all that good stuff, you can kind of tell your friends, tell whoever. Posters, banners. I've done table tents. So if you guys have a cafeteria, I've done table tents to where you've got like a guru, a quality guru on the one side. And then on the other side, you've got somebody in your quality department, just kind of highlighting what they do, how long they've been with the company, kind of thing. You've got your backgrounds. I think ASQ has, I know they have email signatures, but 1 year at least they did have the Zoom backgrounds. Or you could host a raffle, right? And I'm going to mention the quality toolbox again, because I think that every quality professional should have a copy of it. So yeah, I always give that out at any raffle or whatever. People don't think they want it or need it until they get it, and then they can't live without it. All right, let me see what some of you guys have said here. So we posted videos on LinkedIn. Awesome. Celebrating the Baldwin Enterprise, Baldwin Foundation. Love that. Poster sessions throughout the company. Best practices, customer satisfaction, social media, we were talking about the presentations by CEO. That's important, especially when we finally start talking about the gurus with Deming, especially in terms of it has to start at the top. Leadership's so important. Oh, and then the book raffle to expand out to other books. And I'm going to highlight the books, the top books from each of the quality gurus. So you guys will have those all handy in this content. Good stuff. Okay. So this is going to look a little cluttered, right? But it's just kind of a collage of examples of things. Bottom left being the candy bar, which actually was a pretty big hit. It was a nice little snack for them to take after lunch. The crossword, a find a word. I love LinkedIn. I mentioned that to you guys, but I do. And you'll see like Colleen Construction. I have no idea who they are, but LinkedIn thought I would like what they posted, and I did, right? Because he's talking about their quality week with the photo and everything. How nice. And then just an individual that I wasn't originally connected with, but I guess since I had posted, right, they know what.
So I think we will, Jennifer lost her connection. Hopefully she'll realize that here quickly and reconnect shortly. So anyone else have examples of what they've done within their organization to help celebrate Quality Month, Quality Week, or Quality Day, which is today, by the way? You have any examples of what you and your organization has done? Feel free to participate in the chat or unmute yourself while we wait for Jennifer to reconnect. Rob, do you have Jennifer's contact information? You could reach out to her. Maybe she hasn't realized she's not connected.
Yeah. Let me go into my emails. I was afraid that it froze it on my side, but evidently it's on her side.
Yeah, I would think, because everybody else still seems connected. So
I have an example I did a couple years ago.
Hi, Orion. Hey, everybody. Orion is our incoming section chair, so welcome, Orion, to our program meeting tonight. But yes, go ahead.
Well, it's Robert, not Orion, but I worked for Sony Electronics a few years ago back, and we decided to have a quality day, and it was at the manufacturing floor level. And we actually, because we had so many manufacturing lines running, we had to pull in each line into the cafeteria and give a presentation. But we basically asked the marketing executives from New York City to come in and talk to people about what it means, what the product means to the people that are buying it. And the one message I remember was the quality manager who got up, and he was one of the last people to talk, and he says, I want you guys to know
Hey
how
guys,
important
can
your
you hear
job
me?
is, because you are the last people who touch the product and see the product before the customer receives it. And so that what you do has a big impact.
Yeah,
And
very, very important to very strong messaging if you can have
yeah,
customer
to,
testimonials.
to carry that message down to the factory floor, and being a former production supervisor, I'd never seen that before. And so I was really impressed. Anyways,
Great.
that was my
Okay, well, thank
example.
you for filling in the time. Jennifer is back. We lost you for a minute or two,
You
but
did. I'm on another computer now, so
ah,
that one is still frozen. So
uh-oh.
I'm glad you can hear me now. Contingencies are good.
Okay. And I apologize confusing Robert with Orion. When Robert first announced he had something to share, for some reason, Orion's profile picture popped up. I thought, oh, okay, that's our new section chair. Sorry for the confusion, but
No
please
worries.
go ahead, Jennifer.
All right, cool. I'm gonna just have to get back to where I was. So you guys let me know when you can see this, and I'm going to, since this is a different computer, just do that for a second. Okay, so you guys should be able to see the presentation again.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Sorry for that glitch. I think I froze about right here where I was talking to you guys about examples. So the policy, the quality policy on the candy bar, post I kicked off a program for every month. I called it Quality Insights, but it was an email I sent out to everyone once a month just on some quality topic. And I kicked that off during World Quality Month last year for that company. So lots of different ideas that you can do. I appreciate you sharing yours as well. In terms of honing it in, there's always a theme. Themes are great for obvious reasons. So, this year's quality theme, does anybody know what it is? I'm going to tell you because it's right here. It's quality, think differently. That's the ASQ theme. I mean, you can have your own with your organization as well. So these are just some that I've seen before or have used. But it just kind of helps kind of rally in whatever kind of information you're putting together or events in terms of specific topics or thinking about the outcome that you really want to get from any type of awareness benefit you're going to get from your activities. So thinking about some themes there. Okay. So that's just kind of a kickoff of, hey, what can you do? But I wanted to do kind of a retrospective, a little homage to Quality Gurus. I love this webpage, qualitygurus.com. I stole this image from there. Well, I didn't steal it, but I borrowed it to share with you and tell you where you can find it. But it is all of the gurus that we consider who basically created the foundations, the philosophy of quality that we base most things on, even so today. And I have picked a few of them. So start with Stewart, starting 1891, going into the 60s. We know him for SPC, statistical process control, control charts. Obviously, PPAP would not be what it is today without Walter Stewart. But more importantly, what I love the most, I mean, not that I don't like SPC and control charts a whole bunch, but the short cycle, plan, do, check, to act is really foundational in, I'm going to say, everything that we do. Even so today, it represents the cycle of continuous improvement. You see ISO and other standards based on it. this is it, right? I know all of us are probably familiar with that. But as promised, I tried to get each one of their quotes and some books that they've written that you can look into further. So not far after Stewart is my favorite. And if you guys have ever been to World Quality Conference, or you know what, ASQ, I think for one World Quality Month offered this, but it was take a little quiz and it tells you which quality guru you are. And I loved that. And I took it multiple times and I always got the same thing. I always got Deming. And I kind of love that. I mean, I love them all, but yeah. Anyway, you can probably still, if you're interested in that, I'm sure it would come up if you search for it. But it was a fun little thing they did. But Demi, the father of quality, right? I love the story of Deming, and when people get me talking about quality and such, it's always fun to go back here to think that, here's this guy, and he has all of these ideas that, are great, that we know are great, but kind of our US industry maybe didn't like necessarily think that didn't buy into it, let's just say, right? So he goes over to Japan. Japan's like, yes, this is what we need. And now today is known for having some of the highest quality in global trade, which is phenomenal. So I always thought that was an interesting story, but that's Deming. He's got what you probably know him for is the 14 points of management. Actually, he's the only one that got 2 slides. So Demi will get another slide after this so we can really talk about that. But either way, it emphasized the importance of quality data-driven decision-making, role of management and fostering improvement. And if you've never been to Deming.org, host of information, you can get lost in there, I guarantee it, about Deming. But I'm going to let you tell him himself. I'm going to hope this video works now since I have not checked this alternate computer. But this is in his own words, and it's just, I think it's like 30 seconds, and then I'll stop it. But let's see if it works here. Can somebody tell me if you can hear it?
I do not hear the audio. Oh, there we go.
You can capture the market with better quality and lower price. It'll help you to stay in business, provide jobs, more jobs. It's all very simple. One has to know how to produce quality, what quality is, what's the ultimate aim, and quality goes all the way through an organization. Could be no better than the top, no better than the intent of the top people.
That is Dr. Deming's single most important.
I hope you guys heard that. All right, so I love that video, and there's another one of Crosby I'm going to recommend. I won't play, but it's essentially Crosby talking about his whole thing on the golf course. It's entertaining, but it's cool too. But anyway, about 14 points of quality management, right? So creating constancy of purpose. So really starting out with aiming to improve products or services, I guess, to stay competitive. Adopting new philosophy. So it's that mindset, right? That different gurus talk about in different ways, but it is that whole culture of quality shift. Cease dependence on mass inspection. This is interesting because it's one thing that you see kind of flip-flop with the gurus in terms of, inspection versus you're doing it wrong if you're having to inspect. You need to design for quality. So interesting perspectives that are different there. But in the practice of awarding business on the basis of price. This one's interesting because at the time he came up with it, it was a single supplier. He noted like make it a single supplier, but I would say you could actually have a discussion about really not wanting to have a single supplier based off of just, the waves of different variables that have hit related to that. I think people have diversified and at least a backup supplier, but that's an interesting one, and he said it. Improve constantly and forever. Of course, all of them agree, continuous improvement. one of the big things that sets him out though is the focus on training on the job. And I always thought it would be funny if you were like the auditor and he's there and you call something out, you have some nonconformance, let's say like on your assembly line, right? And with not following the operating instruction. And then you find out that you say the root cause is operator. Well, clearly the operator didn't assemble it right, right? And my corrective action is that, I'm going to retrain everyone. I'm going to retrain the whole group and it's going to be better. Well, he would totally laugh at you, right? Because he really felt like that was never operator error. It's always the process. It's always how you're training them on if the process is as optimized as it should be, etc. So training was a big differentiator for him here. Instituting leadership, so focusing on leadership. We heard him say that, but that's one of the resonating themes, of course, is that none of this is going to work if it doesn't start with leadership and doesn't flow down with sustainable support. Driving out fear. So it's one thing to put safety is number one, quality is number two sign up in a plant, but it's another when you really start talking to people and they feel empowered to stop the line or whatever it is example that you might have for that. Break down barriers between departments. Out of all of these, I feel like this is one of the realest challenges. Just in big organizations, that ability to be more agile when it comes to barriers between those departments. I don't know if you guys would agree or not. Eliminate the slogans, quotas, and that one's interesting too. Eliminate quotas and numerical targets. I have not seen that one yet. So there's always quotas and targets associated. If you guys have examples of that though too, let me know. I can't monitor the chat like I could with the other, but I will look in just a minute. And then, putting everyone in the company to work to accomplish the transformation. So involve everyone. You gotta love Deming. And so the link will be in here. If you get a chance to watch the whole video, it is great. Okay, skipping ahead a little further is Duran, known for the trilogy of quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. But for me, the highlight is Pareto, bringing Pareto into application of business management and economics. You guys might have been exposed to it as well, but I think more recently, over the past, I want to say like 5 years, there have been a lot of new leaders coming into companies, taking 80/20 into like we might have been more used to like Paretoing out plant floor issues or something, but this is a whole lean 80/20 approach to strategy in the big picture of how the organization drives improvement. And so being at one of those organizations, it was really interesting because you've got verticals. So you've got the 80/20 philosophy overarching the whole thing. And I think Joanne would be impressed by this. And then you've got each vertical has a SME, right? And then they have champion programs, champion 80/20 people within those that drive projects. So, for example, product simplification, right? You can 80/20 that. That was a project. I mentioned the monthly production defects, just driving continuous improvement. That's a general one. Yeah, when you're looking at, and I put core doc updates, the example there was a um a finding, an IATF finding related to related to the control plans. And it was a minor the first time and then they found it again, so it automatically becomes a major. And so we had to say really quick, right? Because how are you going to prove in terms of your action that you've gone through all of what you have? So we 80/20 that, which satisfied them, which was good, and it made sure all our documents were updated. So very positive outcome there. But really anything. So something to consider, right? We can think of 80/20 as something small, just a quality tool, one of our 7 that we use, or something big, like guiding the entire strategic direction of the company. Let me just check chat really quick to see what you guys are saying. So yeah, true that on the slogans and continuous improvement. Okay, love Duran though. And he's the one I told you he's got one video. This isn't the golf course video though. So after that comes Ishikawa, and I love Ishikawa because of the cause and effect diagram, which I'm sure if I were to poll, it would be a lot of your favorites. And it is definitely one of mine. Actually, that is interesting. If you feel like chatting your favorite quality tool, that's always a fun one. But Ishikawa is known for really kind of bundling them up, like we know of as the 7 QC tools. And then what I love is the cause and effect diagram. It is just kind of the go-to for root cause analysis. I think if you have something really simple, I think a lot of people are going to say, oh, we use 5Y, but I think this is pretty solid to be able to use, still use today. So it's either known as the fishbone, Ishikawa, or a cause and effect diagram, but they're all essentially, and I'm sure you guys know this, right? But it's kind of the fish are identifying potential causes, and you're getting to the root cause. And I plugged Nancy Haig's book here again because it's awesome and it includes all of these tools. It includes every tool you'll ever need to solve probably any problem is right there in that book. Okay. Crosby. Yeah, okay, so Crosby is the golfing video. Yes, and I feel like those of you out there that are really like you are dedicated to quality and passionate about it need to see the video. So you can just Google him, golf course, whatever. But he talks about zero defects and it's fantastic. But he comes in 1926, goes into the 2000s, and his big thing was prevention over inspection. The idea of zero defects and quality is free, which we know didn't mean quality is actually free. But they came under his 4 absolutes of quality. So, one, we define quality as adherence to requirements. I love this because in the early days, when blogs weren't as common, and we had a blog, the most popular post that I ever posted was about how the discussion of how you define quality. And I was so impressed by the number of different interpretations of what quality meant. But ultimately, I'm going to say we're aligning under essentially right. Quality meets requirements, it's adherence to approved requirements, although that's probably assumed. But either way, very interesting on the definition being subjective there. Prevention is the best way to ensure quality. Zero defects is the performance standard for quality. And I love that one because it's not only like just thinking zero defects, coming off, shipping out. This is like you can have zero defect culture, which is very hard to implement, just getting everyone on the same page and driving that initiative. But I have seen it be very effective as well. Obviously, he's a guru. But he wrote, quality is free. I love this one, quality without tears. And he gave us the 14 steps. So he liked 14 things too. Oh, and I have done number 9 is zero defects day. So I have done that and that's fun. And it because people don't really know outside of quality. So kind of getting everyone on the same page of, what does it mean other than what it says, kind of thing, if that makes sense. I'm gonna stop here and just make sure you guys don't have any questions or anything so far. Okay. Cool. What's that? Okay. So there were others. We didn't have time tonight for every single one, but I did include a few others. And you'll notice here, interestingly, because I did feel like I might get the question of, every person that had been highlighted, of course, was a male, which isn't a problem or anything, but I was like, okay, it did pique my interest to use AI to determine, okay, who would be a female representative here. And it turns out that it is Feigenbaum's wife who actually led quality systems for a good decade, implementing all of those quality practices. So I learned that about her. But of course, we know him for total quality management, cost of quality. All of us know Toyota production system, Poka-yoke, meaning error proofing. Kanban. I put a little image here of Kanban because that's fun. If you work from home or even your office or wherever, but taking Kanban out of work, I've had a huge chalkboard and divided it into three things, and then I would just have all my different colored post-it notes and stuff and kind of Kanban stuff over. And that was fun. So, and I do use it for work, but little recommendation on, would they have imagined here we are with our boards in our homes? Okay. I just wanted to this is my transition into the next segment, but it's kind of, hey, we had a lot of people in this short amount of time really doing a lot to lay out the foundation of quality for us. But then our next question should be, of course, right, like we said, there has to be, we didn't just stop there and said what you did is perfect. There's nothing more to learn or know because that's just not human of us. So I wanted to be sure to highlight just quality contributions. How do we recognize quality? And we've already even talked about the Baldrige Award, which is one of the biggest. I'd say these are the three most significant international prizes or programs that you've got. But you've got the big Deming Prize that's been around for a while. Um, you've got Baldrige that we talked about that follows the Baldrige framework, and that one's actually managed by NIST, so National Institute of Standards and Technology, if I recall. And the Shingo Prize, that's based on the Shingo model for lean principles and organizational excellence. And I included the links. So a couple of cool things here. You yourself might be thinking, oh, well, I don't think that I've contributed to quality in the sense of maybe being awarded right now a Deming Prize. But what's cool is you can go to the website and learn about all of what the people who have applied or have won are doing. And that's a really great way to be able to stay in touch with kind of what's going on in our world. Where is it going? What are people thinking about and doing? And then ASQ, right? So ASQ has a ton, and I just pulled this from their site that I've linked here, but these are really great volunteer opportunities too. Um, for a reason, if you just really love to contribute and are awesome, or you might need RUs, right? Great opportunities. I just joined the Harami Medal for inspection contributions. So my first year doing that will be the next cycle, but I'm excited about that one. And it's a pretty easy volunteer, from what I understand, it's a pretty easy volunteer process in terms of there's a period of time where you can collect the submissions, you review them, the committee then reviews, they make a recommendation, then they all decide, and then someone gets the medal or award. So great opportunity. You can reach out to via the website or talk to your local section leadership, whoever it might be. But I mean, you're really hitting on all of the topics. I mean, you've got even social responsibility in there. You've got inspection, human aspects of quality. So even just digging into and looking at who has won these previously and what they're doing and what they won them for, is a great source of information. Okay, so final tips here for takeaways and a few more things. I included balloons here because I feel like my most epic world quality example, those 2 years, I also had balloon towers. And this was a huge deal. I mean, I'm talking about like the really big ones. And I couldn't even, when I went to ask for this budget, I had no idea that it would be so so easy to get what I had asked for, which covered these huge balloon towers. So, but in all fairness, that company, we were launching a brand new quality system. They had never even had a quality policy before. So it wasn't going to be an every year thing, but it was going to be a really great kickoff to, moving forward with the new system. So there were balloon towers. So regardless of what you may think, people like balloons and balloons make people happy and they're associated with celebrating. So, have fun celebrating what you love. And if we didn't all love quality, we would not be here this evening and be engaged in ASQ and trying to recognize and pursue our craft. Organize a committee, because I'll tell you, I know it's challenging to get everybody on a call at a specific time and day on a regular basis, no less. But I will tell you, it is less difficult than trying to do it all yourself. Either if it's big or small, a committee is really helpful and worth kind of trying to get everybody to buy into it and have a lot of great ideas coming about from it. Recognizing people in quality, but also focusing on awareness of others as a learning opportunity. So just making sure that we're not siloed to just our little world of quality people, right? I think the big opportunity with world quality is this chance to excuse, one might say, to go out and talk about it, right, to others or make a big deal about it or draw attention to it. Because you have a good reason to. Plan ahead. I mentioned this earlier, but this is so very real. It usually takes time to get money to do things. And again, I feel like even if you don't feel like there's a budget, or you can still do a webinar. You can still there's a number of things that you could work on that don't include a lot of money or budget. Get leadership involvement support. That is really important. You want them there. You don't want them just to sign that you can spend a certain amount of money or whatever to recognize quality. You really want them involved. Like get a statement from them, issue the statement on that company's LinkedIn or at least an internal kind of message, an email blast or whatever, but you want to hear it coming from them. And then consider and share ways to incorporate quality tools into your personal life. I did a workshop on this once and it was so much fun. And the workshop ranged from really cool quality tools you can use with your kids. Um, I'm not sure how much my kids probably remember, but they could definitely tell you the different types of quality tools for sure. But for us adults, like mind maps, right? I mean, it's an opportunity to use some colored pencils or markers or whatever, but you've got I have the example here, like goals are in the middle, right? But it could be you, it could be whatever it is, and then you're just kind of mind mapping things out for personal development purposes. And then the other one I listed is more of like a pros, cons, interesting, but it could also be more of like a grid matrix of, let's say you're looking at different jobs or you're looking at buying different types of cars, car options, or whatever it is. You can list out all the things that are important to you and then your scale. And then if you want to feel particularly awesome, you could, weight certain things or whatever. But there's no reason to think that we spend all day using these awesome quality tools and we're not taking them into our personal life. Oh, and then highlighted, keep it going. Quality isn't something we should only recognize 1 month per year. I don't know which social media platforms you guys like. I love LinkedIn. Like I said, it's kind of Facebook for you know, people, what you do, your profession. And there's so much great stuff. I have an entire phone full of screenshots of these little, like you'll see in the little images of comparing things like Gimba, Kaizen, Pokeyoke, or whatever to different things, or visualizing quality KPIs or questions you need to know, that 25 sentences every Kaizen leader must hear. And then I love, and I put this one on here because I have seen this same meme with different words related to quality, even at least at least 5, 10 times. I know that's a big range, but it feels like a lot. Um, but this one made me laugh because we were talking about Deming earlier, and you know, you would never say training is the corrective action or operator failure. So that one was pretty funny. But anyway, stay connected. It doesn't have to be LinkedIn, wherever it is, right? They'll tell you, they'll learn and tell you people that you might want to follow or connect with. And then as you're going through your feed, there'll be things that are interesting. They've got the reels, so videos, whatever it might be. And I hope you guys have seen the ASQ campaign this year. It is adorable. Um, they've always done something. They've always had a website up. But I feel like this year they really jumped in. They've got different characters. Like you see, I'm Captain Cause here. I think the one today or yesterday was Mistress Measurement or something like that. So it's a whole little gang of quality superheroes, I guess you could say, which is pretty cool. So check that out. But they've got all kinds of resources and everything else. CQI and ASQ both are the biggest on the World Quality Month theme. All right, I'm gonna check really quick on your chat. Invite key customers. So you invite key customers to present on their experiences using your, yes, that's very, very true. I like that a lot. So for you guys that didn't see that, invite key customers to present on their experiences using your company's products and services. That is very motivational. I like that. All right, I'm gonna close this. And then I'm not gonna play this whole video, but I'm gonna play the first part of it. I originally would have sworn to you that this guy was an ASQ World Quality Conference keynote. And I can tell you that AI says that I definitely don't know what I'm talking about. So I must have seen him somewhere else. I'm not sure where. But when I see this guy, I'm only going to play the first part of it. But I mean, that in itself just kind of his first comments. But if you watch the rest of the video, which is so worth the watch, he goes through kind of these things you have to do to be a Navy SEAL training. And it's not to say that being in quality is as hard as, I'm not saying that. I know that's super hard, but he wants you to think about it too. And the first thing I thought about when I watched this, when I watched the video, was kind of what we go through inequality. And it's very similar. And if you think about it with that perspective as he goes on with the story, it's incredibly motivating. But I include the link here, but I'm going to play just like the first minute for you, which I'm hoping is kind of a positive wrap up to a very important and positive day before we go to questions. So here we go.
Build a website you love with Wix. Were your words?
You want to change the world? Start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. To pass SEAL training, there are a series of long swims that must be completed.
One is the night swim. Before the swim, the instructors joyfully brief the students on all the species of sharks that inhabit the waters off San Clemente. They assure you, however, that no student has ever been eaten by a shark, at least not that they can remember. But you are also taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground. Do not swim away. Do not act afraid. And if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summons up all your strength and punch him in the snout, and he will turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in the world. If you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. So if you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. Over a few weeks of difficult training.
So he goes on. I'm not going to play the whole thing, like I said, but just kind of hoping that you also kind of tracked where that goes in terms of what we go through in quality, and also kind of brings things hopefully kind of full circle to say, you know, why today is important, not only to us, but just in general with, you know, quality being everyone's responsibility. So I am going to stop sharing and go for questions, if that makes sense.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Does anybody on the call have any questions for Jennifer about World Quality Month or anything else relating to quality? You got an ASQ fellow here. Take advantage of her learning and experience.
Yeah, make your bed is very relatable. I totally thought of 5S too. I love that.
This is Bob from San Diego. In 1988, Philip Crosby came to the University of San Diego and spoke. And as a new quality engineer, he made me kind of nervous because he began to raise his voice like George Carlin, the comedian, did at the time, start yelling and shouting that, you know, get this problem out of my office, get this problem out of my office. And anyways, he had an interesting lesson that the problems are solved on the factory floor, not in the manager's office. The people that can solve your problem are out there on the factory line. And then years later, I had a contract with Philip Crosby to have him come in for another quality day. And what was funny is in contracting him, he insisted on a hotel with a golf course, of course. But he introduced us. He talked a lot about the price of nonconformance, and we went away and realized that we were always measuring in-process defects, lot acceptance, anything that would interfere with our, you know, our workflow, our production workflow. But we began to kind of get creative and look at it in dollars and cents. And what we found out is we had a huge obsolete inventory problem in the millions of dollars. It was just nobody knew about, because once the product was, or the finished goods or the raw material was obsolete, we just sell it to scrap handlers or, you know, discounters. And we had no controls over, for example, somebody in sales could order, you know, a huge amount of finished goods, and the customer can cancel the order, and then we're stuck at the factory with it, and it would just sit there, gather dust.
Would
And
you
so,
do, or were you doing cost of poor quality where you're factoring in scrap?
yeah, we were, and that enlightenment in doing that, you know, we came up with controls so to keep from having that kind of spoilage, both the raw material and the finished goods. But yeah, I think in 1 year we saved like 25 million. It was just earth moving, that concept.
That's a big number.
Oh yeah, well, and that was a big number many years ago, you know, not in recent time. Yeah, it was huge. But anyways, great stuff. I don't see that as much as we used to, and I think part of that is maybe we inherently nowadays a lot of you know, was it shop floor control and change control systems kind of help to prevent those kind of things, I think, compared to what it used to be. But I've been very far removed from the factory floor for many years, so I don't know what type of controls we have anymore. Maybe somebody out there is closer to it than I am. But anyways, no, this resonated with me. I'll give somebody else a chance to talk here.
Well, I like your tie-in though, basically to Gemba, right? And the importance of Gemba in terms of that's where it is, right? Go and see. What
Anybody
about
else?
other ways? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking if there was anybody else who had any questions, comments.
There is a question of, have I seen AI impacting quality? Already how received. Yeah, and I think we were even touching on that like right off the bat for the call. But I'm seeing it used for, I mean, data analysis alone to get it to think about different things. I mean, we even mentioned something basic as helping with presentations. One of the biggest hurdles, I think, for quality, if you were to talk to, from way back, was really the ability for people in quality to communicate the value of quality to leadership, which is kind of an interesting tie in there. But for sure. And we recently, for the audit division, we had the whole topic last September, this last September was on AI and auditing, which is also an interesting, different ways that you can use that. Would anyone else want to chime in on how you're using AI or kind of like hot topics related from your industry? Okay, and then we have quality maintenance was published in 19 by the National Foreman's Institute, which is a compilation of advanced foreman methods from a survey of industry.
It's a very enlightening book that no one knows about.
All right, now we do though. That's great.
If it had a name associated with it other than a whole group of nameless authors, I'd put them in with the gurus.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
Uh,
that's a
I, I
big
found I
recommendation.
found I found the book almost 35 years ago in an antique shop,
That's
and I was completely stunned by what it said. And it's been the underlying theme or my foundation in quality management for the past 35 years.
wow. Okay, I'm gonna definitely have to check that out now.
It pulls together multiple things that we don't normally do. And I really think that, today, despite everything that we're doing, this is like the foundation of a lot of the things that we do, and yet we don't do any of it. It's the book's divided into three parts: maintaining quality standards, handling of material, which is exactly gets into it, starts talking about inventory and proper material handling, your damage and all this, which is like what the other gentleman kind of was talking about with inventory control and whatever. And then lastly, an entire section on eliminating waste in your operations. How all
Well,
of
no
these
one likes
things,
the Muda.
yeah, all of these, how they all impact um, the quality of your product going to your customer. And the fact that it was written in 1929 was just completely blew me away. We still talk about the things in this book today, trying to get executive leadership to acknowledge these things. And we knew it 1929, and we're still fighting the battle.
True, but I'm gonna say you can go into the mall and likely find a very cool shirt where people are talking about quality and they care about it. Obviously a joke from the yes. One thing I thought about today too, though, just to say, so, because you talked about quality in a lot of areas, and when we think about it, most of us are probably thinking about, you know, quality and design quality, right? Manufacturing quality, supplier quality, or reliability, whatever it might be. But when you think about it, world quality is also a great opportunity for us to kind of tell people in terms of quality of life, right? In terms of more kind of soft areas in which quality is also a topic of conversations that occur, and it really does all tie in. So. Oh yeah, I have so that statistical methods book you just put in there, that's a good one. And of course, total quality control too. Those are really good recommendations. Oh, Out of Crisis is one of my favorite from Deming. There's a daily Deming too. Gosh, it's like daily management. And it kind of gives a day by day. I'll have to think about which one that one is, but that's a great one. It's just a little snippet every day. Anyone else have any book recommendations? Are you reading anything related to quality these days? I don't see quality toolbox in here, and I do think that is absolutely necessary. I'm just going to put that in there for you guys. Oh, on the shirt, I will end with you on this too. So yeah, back to the whole shirt. So the guy, the Yellowstone guy, the actor, right? He was given the opportunity to do, to express himself 3 times, with 3 different slogans. And the first one, which I loved, I bought the shirt, right? But I think you guys might appreciate the interesting twist of what the third shirt is. It said, blow up the roadmaps and find your own path or something like that. And I thought, oh, I mean, I love me some good roadmaps. I don't know if I'd blow them up. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But I mean, they're living documents, but yeah, I just felt like those are very contradictory statements. This is a really great list of books, you guys.
Yeah, I found them helpful through my years of experience, working from beginning as a product development engineer, working as a quality engineer, up the ladder through success, eventually retiring as the 3M corporate quality director, traveling
Very
the
cool.
world as we started up new operations. When I started with 3M, we had 80 manufacturing plants. When I retired, we had 206.
I'm pretty sure touching all areas of the planet as well, right?
Exactly. Yes. Got to experience a lot of cultures, and that was unique. That was really fun. And then bringing quality into all these different cultures.
So if you were to ask me what I'm most proud of in my career in quality, or that would be one of the things, right? The ability to have impacted um, trade from the manufacturing side of things from the global perspective.
Yeah.
So so I'm doing a webinar next month for the audit division on social responsibility, but even just thinking about that, doing those audits like way early on, like 2000s, late 90s, um, the social audits over there and everything, just quality touches everything.
Yes, it does. Well, if there are no more questions, thank you, Jennifer, for your presentation. and discussion of World Quality Month, its history, and where people can find tools and helpful promotional materials to further advance quality in their organization and in their community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording at this point, and then we'll go into some section business.